The Houston Rockets are now reportedly currently interested in potentially trying to trade for the Philadelphia 76ers big man, Joel Embiid. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to talk about with you guys. This time again, it's currently being reported that the Houston Rockets are interested in trading for the Philadelphia 76ers big man, Joel Embiid. Everyone is available except James Harden, and this is all being reported by Scoop B. So I feel like this is actually a very interesting, kind of move by the Houston Rockets, considering that the Rockets have been, doing a lot of small ball recently, especially considering they traded away Clint Capella to, again, kind of bring in that small ball type of system with PJ Tucker at that center position. It would kind of be a weird look for them to actually kind of go out and reverse that, thinking, especially months after they actually recently, again, made that move. But, also being reported that the Rockets general manager, Daryl Morey, is stepping down. And that was being reported by Woj. So, considering the Rockets don't have, again, their coach, again, Mike D'Antoni, that like to push the pace and kind of have a small ball, type of system. And Daryl Morey, who kind of feed it into that type of system and the way that D'Antoni wanted to kind of go out and work about it. Considering both of those people won't be with the Houston Rockets team or the organization anymore, I do feel like them going out and getting a big man would actually make a lot of sense. And I feel like having a big man with James Harden is just the thing to do, especially one that could shoot. Imagine the pick and rolls that they could get going if they could get a big man that could shoot with James Harden. It would be absolutely insane to potentially see, and I feel like Joel Embiid would actually be one of the most perfect players to make this happen. The only bad thing about this is I don't really feel like, I don't know if Joel Embiid would be the best pick and roll type of player with James Harden. Again, it's not saying that he can't do it, but there may be better players to go out and work, with James Harden on that pick and roll. But again, that's not the big issue that they have. I think the big issue is not having enough assets to actually go out and potentially make this deal happen. Like, look, the Sixers aren't going to want Russell Westbrook, and you wouldn't think they're going to want Russell Westbrook. I feel like the Rockets are going to have to keep Westbrook at this point unless they can't, unless they can maybe trade him to someone else. But I feel like they're kind of keen on potentially keeping Westbrook for the most part anyway. Again, so that, yeah, I definitely do believe they are keen on kind of keeping Westbrook, but I feel like the issue is not having enough players to go out and actually make this, deal happen and make this move. I feel like Eric Gordon would definitely be a player that would be thrown in this deal. I feel like he could be a really nice player to put on the Philadelphia 76ers, but only if he could, improve his three-point accuracy to what it used to be. I mean, like, in the playoffs, he was very, very streaky from, his three-point accuracy and from three-point range. I feel like if he could get better at that catch and shoot, he would definitely be a really nice player to bring in to the Philadelphia 76ers. Not just that, another player I feel like the 76ers would definitely want is PJ Tucker. And I feel like if they're going to want to keep maybe Robert Covington at that power forward position, then PJ Tucker would actually be a really, again, nice player for the 76ers to go out and get. The issue, again, with this is you can't just expect the Sixers to accept a deal that would be PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, and maybe 2 to 3 first-round picks. It would most likely have to be more than that. Yes, a lot of people do not like Joel Embiid, and a lot of people have their different opinions on him. But I feel like it's still definitely, again, something that you can't really debate, that he is a top 3 center in the league. And when he is healthy, he could arguably be the best center in the league. Even though, in my opinion, I don't think he's the best center in the league. I feel like Jokic probably is at this point. And if Cat could definitely improve his defense, I feel like Cat could definitely be. But Cat just needs to improve his defense and actually start winning some games. But that's just kind of how I see that type of situation. I feel like, again, the 76ers aren't going to want to trade Joel Embiid. I feel like if they were going to trade a big man to the Rockets, if anything, it's actually going to be Al Horford. And Al Horford would actually be a very interesting player, I feel like, to also partner him up with James Harden. Because, again, Al Horford can definitely do that pick and roll. And even though Al Horford hasn't exactly been the greatest three-point, shooter this season, that's just because he's been at power forward and the spacing of Joel Embiid just hasn't exactly been that great. But if you put Al Horford on a team that has people spacing the floor like Robert Covington, like Daniel House, like James Harden, the guy's going to get available a lot more on the three-point line, and the pick and roll with James Harden is definitely going to be a lot of, a very big, exciting thing, especially if they could make this happen. Not just that, I believe they could actually get a first potentially out of getting Al Horford to the team, as Al Horford's contract is that bad at this point that I feel like, getting a team to take on his contract may actually require a first, and I feel like a deal that would actually include, Eric Gordon to the 76ers, it could actually be, Eric Gordon to the 76ers for Horford and a first, would actually make sense, for both teams. The 76ers can get a player that is very capable of defending. When he's on, he can definitely be a really nice three-point shooter. Not just that, he adds, a desperate depth to their bench that, again, they have lacked a tiny bit. I still feel like they need a playmaker off the bench, so they could go out and, get maybe Rivers or someone like that, or just still get a better playmaker. But it would be, again, a good situation for the 76ers. But not just that, the Rockets get that first round pick that they can go and use on something else. Then they can, potentially, I still feel like they're going to want to play Covington at power forward, so they'd probably bring Tucker off the bench. So again, a team like that would be absolutely insane to kind of see. And I feel like Al Horford would actually make quite a bit of sense for the Houston Rockets. And even though it'd probably make a little bit more sense than Joel Embiid, and the chemistry would maybe be a bit better. Not just that, it would be easier, he would be an easier player to try and get. There's no denying, though, that Joel Embiid and James Harden and Russell Westbrook, that's a championship trio. Like, I mean, that team should potentially win the championship, especially with a great supporting cast of players like Robert Covington, etc. on the team. That would be pretty hectic and pretty crazy, to kind of see going on. But they're going to have to give up a lot to make it happen. It would probably be PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, Austin Rivers, and maybe 2 to 3 first-round picks. That could possibly get the deal done. But I just still feel like that deal doesn't really make heaps of sense for the 76ers at all. I still feel like, again, getting PJ Tucker and, starting Al Horford at center. Al Horford, I feel like, has, would have great spacing. It actually played really well with Ben Simmons when Joel Embiid wasn't on. Kind of actually take it back. I feel like it would be pretty interesting. Like, imagine that starting five. Al Horford can play his natural center position. The spacing with Ben Simmons would actually be pretty insane. Again, just based on the fact that he can shoot a lot of threes that Simmons can't. Horford can play center, pick and roll. Horford rolls out to the center, shoot the threes once Simmons done with his drive potentially. It would just be a very awesome chemistry that I could see happening. Not just that, you'd have PJ Tucker at that power forward position. He's one of the best corner, three-pointers, corner specialists too in the league. You'd bring in Eric Gordon, who adds, very nice depth off the bench. Austin Rivers, who can bring in that playmaking, and 3 first-round picks. Jeez, it wouldn't be a bad idea in Philadelphia either at all. I just feel like there probably won't be a way where this deal gets done. I feel like Philadelphia are going to want to keep on to Joel Embiid, while the Houston Rockets aren't just going to have enough assets to make this happen. Again, although I feel like if a deal was to ever get done, it would most likely be the Houston Rockets actually going out and potentially trading for Al Horford. But again, I'm really interested to see how this all does potentially go. I would really like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. So definitely don't forget to comment in the comment section. What are your thoughts and opinions on the Rockets potentially being interested in Joel Embiid? Should they go out and trade for him? Should they not? Do you think they'd be able to, have enough pieces to go out and actually do this? Or do you guys think they should just maybe try and settle in bringing in Al Horford to the team? Again, I definitely would really like to know all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. But of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, MIRL/Vlog channel. Definitely don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for them will all be in the description down below. But as I was saying, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.